Hey everyone, welcome to another history lesson video recap. Today we're going to be discussing the Kingdom of Kush. Our lesson goals are to describe the land of Nubia and the Kingdom of Kush, analyze the cultural, political, and economic relationships the kingdoms of Kush and Egypt had on each other, and describe the rise and fall of the Kingdom of Kush. Our lesson question is, what was the relationship between the kingdoms of Kush and Egypt? Egypt is in a very important corner of North Africa because it has access to both the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. This means that the early Egyptians had the ability to trade and interact with both Europe and Asia. The Nile River allowed Egypt and Kush to sustain large populations because they had a steady source of fresh water and good farmland. Nubia refers to an area of land. Kush refers to the kingdom and the people who lived on the land of Nubia. Most of Nubia is in the modern nation of Sudan. The Nile River flows through Nubia, and the Nile River has many cataracts. The cataracts on the Nile River gave Nubia many advantages. They made it easy to trade and made it difficult for enemies to attack. The land had other advantages as well. The weather was good for farming, and water for farming was plentiful, and it had many natural resources. Location gave rise to the Kingdom of Kush for several reasons. Access to the Nile River provided water, fertile soil, and a way to travel for trade. Surrounding mountains provided a barrier that protected the area from invasion, and nearby desert lands provided a barrier to invasion as well as providing resources. Kerma was the first capital of the Kingdom of Kush. It was located by the Nile's third cataract. The city was known for its unique pottery, and the people had large burial mounds and many rituals. Napata was the second capital of the Kingdom of Kush. It was located at the fourth cataract of the Nile. It was founded in about 1400 BCE, and it was a religious center with many temples and pyramids. Meroe was the final capital of the Kush kingdom. It was located between the fifth and sixth cataracts. It was farther away from Egypt and Rome. This made it less likely to be invaded, and the people of Meroe used smelting to make weapons from iron ore. Ancient Nubian culture was advanced, and the region served as a major trading center. It produced a variety of goods, used archery in the military, created unique crafts and architecture, and Nubian communities traded gold, ivory, ebony, and animal pelts as well. Control over Nubia changed hands several times over a 1,000-year period. There's a conquest by Egypt, decline of control, a new invasion, and the capital at Napata. Egyptian rulers established Napata as the capital. Civil wars and invasions in Egypt stopped Egypt from controlling Kush. Napata became more independent. Local leaders in Napata established the Kingdom of Kush by 1069 BCE. Kush combined Nubian and Egyptian cultures. Egypt had a strong influence on the Kingdom of Kush. The Kushites worshipped Egyptian gods such as Ammon and Isis. They built similar pyramids and temples, and the Kushite leaders took the title of pharaoh. The Kushites adopted many Egyptian religious and political ideas as well. Kushite ideas and culture influenced ancient Egypt. The Egyptians adapted and used Kushite political systems, adopted Kushite archery, depended on trade with the Kingdom of Kush, and the Kushites often fought as allies of Egypt but sometimes as enemies. The Egyptians and the Kushites had similar architecture, building materials, and religious inscriptions or writing. The Kingdom of Kush became more powerful and united than Egypt. King Pi and his family invaded Egypt around 750 BCE. They established the 25th dynasty and ruled for more than 100 years. Egypt invaded the Kush kingdom in 590 BCE, so the Kushites moved to Meroe. King Pi ruled the Kingdom of Kush, lived in Napata, believed in the Egyptian god Ammon, invaded Egypt, and established the 25th dynasty of Egypt. The Nile River gave the Egyptians and Kushites direct access to the Mediterranean Sea and the heart of Africa. The river allowed for faster transport of goods to be traded, and the different climates of faraway regions made trade relationships very important. Egyptians traded wheat, cotton, and salt and fish, and Kushites traded gold, iron ore, ebony, ivory, incense, and exotic animals. Egypt and the Kingdom of Kush were two important civilizations. They were able to conquer and rule each other, influenced by the exchange of political and cultural ideas, and affected by trade and stability. The Kingdom of Kush changed over time. The city of Napata became independent, and the Kush kingdom gained power and conquered Egypt. Later, Egypt invaded Napata. The Kushites moved their capital south to Meroe, and Meroe is farther away and harder to approach, preventing invasion. Now, the fall of the Kingdom of Kush. There's an invasion theory that the Kushites had to use many of their resources to defend themselves against Egypt, And the invasion theory argues that the Kushites were conquered by another civilization. There's also the overuse of resources theory. And the overuse of resources may have led to the collapse of the economy. The Kushites may have destroyed their forest and damaged their environment, and a decline in resources may have led to the collapse of Kushite society. It brings us back to our lesson question. What was the relationship between the kingdoms of Kush and Egypt? The kingdoms of Kush and Egypt competed for political control of the region, had strong economic ties, and were significant trading partners. Now, that is all for today, guys. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out on Google Classroom. You can also send an email on Edgenuity, and I will see you guys soon.